Welcome to a new amazing story. What would you do if an eccentric billionaire offered you an absurd amount of money to do something completely ridiculous? This is the story of Nacho, an ordinary guy who ended up in a situation so absurd that it seemed like something out of a movie, but with an unexpected lesson at the end. The beginning of the challenge. Nacho had a boring life: alarm clock, work, series and sleep. His routine was so monotonous that if you asked him what he had done in the last 6 months, he would probably answer, survive. But everything changed one afternoon when, while eating a hamburger in a park, an eccentric old man, dressed as if he had stepped out of a 1920s movie, sat next to him and made him an offer impossible to refuse. "I will give you 100,000 euros if you spend 24 hours saying yes to everything they ask you for." Nacho choked on his hamburger. "What do you say?" he asked, still coughing. "What you heard." A whole day without saying no. Do you dare? Nacho, with more debts than savings, accepted without thinking. The disaster begins. The first challenge came in less than 5 minutes when a group of strangers, who had clearly heard the deal, approached with a suspicious smile. "Will you help us carry this?" This was a huge refrigerator. On a 5th floor. No elevator. Nacho gulped. "Yes." "30 minutes later, with his arms shaking, almost fainting, he thought the worst was over. Mistake. The craziest day of his life. The millionaire's experiment became an unstoppable snowball. A group of theater students convinced him to do a dramatic monologue in the middle of the street. He ended up shouting, "Oh, Juliet, my heart belongs to you," to a passing policeman. His boss called him to ask him to do the longest and most detailed report in the world. He couldn't refuse. Goodbye, free afternoon. An influencer saw him on the street and asked him to do a TikTok dancing reggaeton. His video went viral for being the worst dance ever seen. The Trap of Destiny. Everything seemed controllable until, walking through the city, he ran into his ex-girlfriend, Laura. She looked at him curiously. "Are you still thinking about me?" Nacho felt like the entire universe stopped. How to respond to that? But the challenge forced him. With a trembling voice, he whispered, "Yes." Fatal error. Laura interpreted the answer as a confession of love. In less than 20 minutes, they were already on a date. The point of no return. If he thought the challenge couldn't get any worse, his best friend decided to give him the final blow. "Nacho, do you dare to skydive tomorrow?" Cold sweat ran down his back. Nacho had a terrifying fear of heights. But the rules were the rules. Yes. The final test. The next day, with a helmet on his head and an instructor he barely knew strapped to his back, Nacho was at the door of a plane at 4,000 meters above sea level. "Ready, let's go." The instructor shouted. Wait, I think I regret." Whoosh. Nacho was thrown into the void. Learning when he finally touched down, with his legs shaking and his heart racing, Nacho understood something important. Saying yes takes you out of your comfort zone, but knowing when to say no is even more important. And although the millionaire decided not to pay him, because he hadn't been creative enough, Nacho gained something better. He learned to laugh at himself, faced his fears, and discovered that life was more fun when he dared. Closing. So the next time you hesitate to say yes to an opportunity, remember that you could end up on a viral TikTok, dressed as a unicorn, or falling out of a plane. Think carefully about your decisions. Would you dare to do this challenge? Leave it in the comments.